Imagine waking up. You can see your bedroom ceiling, right?
Yeah.
You can hear that familiar hum of your refrigerator down the hall. But your body feels like it has been encased in a thick layer of cement.
Oh, that is terrifying.
Right. You try to lift your arm, and literally nothing happens. You try to speak, and your vocal cords they refuse to vibrate.
Total paralysis.
Exactly. And then, just as the panic starts to set in, you hear footsteps in the dark corner of your room.
Oof. Yeah, no thank you.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. I am so glad you are joining us today because we are stepping into a landscape of fear where the classic, fight or flight response just completely ceases to exist.
Because usually, when we think about terror, we expect action.
Right. You see a threat, adrenaline floods your system, and your brain instantly calculates the fastest route to the door. Or maybe it scans the room for something heavy to swing.
Because movement is essentially our primary evolutionary defense mechanism. Our bodies are entirely hardwired for action when confronted with a sudden threat. We are meant to mobilize.
But today, we are stripping that mobility away completely. Our mission in this deep dive is to explore the anatomy of a very specific, deeply internal kind of fear.
It's a really fascinating one, too.
It totally is. We are going to analyze a highly intense, visceral playthrough by the YouTube creator Live Insane. He is playing a psychological horror game called Silent Still 2.
Which is an incredible game.
It is. But this is not just about watching a gamer scream at a screen for our entertainment,
Yeah.
We are looking at the raw transcript of his playthrough to understand how interactive media manages to simulate one of the most terrifying, subjective medical phenomena a human being can experience.
Sleep paralysis.
Exactly, sleep paralysis.
Yeah.
Okay, let's unpack this. How does a video game, something you literally play with a plastic keyboard and mouse, actually manage to capture a medical condition that traps a person inside their own body?
Well, to grasp the magnitude of what the developers pulled off, we really need to understand the underlying neurology of what Live Insane is experiencing in the real world when someone actually suffers from sleep paralysis.
Right, because it's not just a bad dream, is it?
No, not at all. The phenomenon is actually a neurological glitch. So during a normal sleep cycle, when you enter REM sleep,
Which is the phase where you dream, right?
Right, exactly. When you enter REM sleep, your brainstem actively secretes neurotransmitters, specifically GABA and glycine.
Okay.
And these chemicals essentially act as an emergency brake. They switch off your motor neurons to paralyze your muscles.
Wait, really? So my brain is intentionally dosing me with paralytics every single night?
It has to. It is an evolutionary protective measure called REM atonia.
Wow.
Think about it. If you are having a vivid dream that you are sprinting away from a lion, you do not want your physical legs to actually start running.
Right, sending you crashing into your bedroom wall or something.
Yeah, exactly. The paralysis keeps you safe while your mind hallucinates. But in sleep paralysis, that mechanism misfires. You regain waking consciousness, your eyes open, your brain is fully aware of your surroundings, but that chemical lock on your motor neurons hasn't been lifted yet.
So you are consciously awake inside a paralyzed vessel.
Yes. And the hallmark of this glitch is the overwhelming hallucination that a sinister, supernatural entity is in the room with you, holding you down.
Which sounds like a literal waking nightmare. Your conscious brain is screaming at your limbs to run, and the hardware is just completely unresponsive.
It's pure terror.
And what is so striking in the transcript is how Silent Still 2 takes that internal chemical restriction and translates it into a digital mechanic.
Yeah, they do it so well.
It happens early on in the game's first experience chapter. Live Insane's character wakes up in bed, and the primary tool every single gamer relies on.
The WASD keys.
Right, the WASD keys used to move around, they're just completely disabled. He is locked to the mattress.
And that is when the game introduces this incredibly stressful mechanic called the scared meter.
Yes. Oh my gosh, the scared meter.
The scared meter is where the psychological manipulation shifts from passive observation to active participation. Because the player cannot run and cannot fight, the developers offer only one pathetic defensive option.
Closing your eyes.
Exactly. Closing your eyes.
You physically have to hold down the left mouse button to squeeze the character's in-game eyes shut. You just sit there in the pitch black, waiting for the scared meter to slowly tick down to 0.
Oh, while the audio is just...
Yes. Meanwhile, the game's audio design is pumping the sound of this terrifying, heavy-breathing entity roaming around the bedroom right into your headphones.
It's so intense.
It totally reminds me of being a kid. Like, if you were listening to this, think back when you were 7 years old. You hear a noise in your dark bedroom, and what is your immediate instinct?
You hide.
Right. You pull the blankets up over your head. It is that desperate, primal childhood logic that if you cannot see the monster cannot see you. You are just gripping that mouse, praying the audio cues fade away.
What's fascinating here is how that mechanic forces a regression to our most infantile state of defense.
Ooh, regression. Tell me more about that.
Well, in most traditional horror media, terror is externalized. The fear comes from whatever is actively chasing you down a hallway.
Sure, like a zombie or whatever.
Right. But by taking away movement, the game engineers an unbearable sense of vulnerability. True horror in this specific interactive medium isn't found in the act of running away.
It is found in the profound, crushing inability to run at all.
Exactly. And because it is interactive, the tension isn't just on the screen. You aren't watching a movie character hide under the covers. The physical, muscular tension is transferred directly into your own hand.
Because you're clenching the mouse.
Yes. As you clench that mouse button, desperately trying to keep the character's eyes closed, you feel the physical strain.
And you can see that physical and emotional toll bleeding into Live Insane's commentary too. He is completely stripped of that cool, collected, performative gamer persona we usually see on YouTube.
Oh, absolutely. He loses it.
He really does. At one point in the transcript, to cope with the sheer panic of waiting out the scared meter, he actively chooses to stare at a random pixelated piece of bread on an in-game table.
Bread.
Yes, bread. He is doing it just to avoid looking at the shadowy entity in the corner. He is frantically trying to ground his own real-world anxiety using digital bread.
That is amazing.
And when that doesn't work, he actually starts reciting protective chants out loud. He repeatedly chants, Jai Bajrangbali.
Which is invoking the Hindu deity, Hanuman, right?
Yes, exactly. Hanuman is a symbol of strength and protection.
You know, the invocation of a real-world deity to combat a digital threat is incredibly telling.
How so?
Well, when a piece of software can successfully bypass your rational understanding, I mean the logical part of your brain that knows you are perfectly safe in a well-lit room looking at a glowing monitor.
Right, you logically know you're fine.
Exactly. But when it bypasses that and triggers a deeply conditioned cultural plea for supernatural protection, the simulation has succeeded entirely.
Wow.
The physiological fear response in his body is literally indistinguishable from the response to a genuine physical threat. The boundary between the player and the code has collapsed.
That is wild. But, you know, taking away your body is terrifying, sure. But taking away the reality of the room around you elevates the manipulation entirely.
Oh, the environmental stuff.
Yes.
Right.
The game doesn't just stop at physical paralysis. It plays a massive, cruel trick on the player's sense of environmental safety.
The safe room concept.
Right. Anyone who plays video games knows the concept of the safe room. It is the brightly lit room with the soothing music, where you can finally put the controller down, wipe your sweaty palms, and just take a breath.
A chance to recover.
Exactly. And in Silent Still 2, Live Insane starts the video exploring this incredibly creepy abandoned building. But then he seemingly escapes. He goes home. And the house is rendered beautifully.
Yeah.
It is well lit, highly realistic. He does all these comforting, mundane tasks. He grabs a soda from the fridge. He takes a relaxing bath, puts on his pajamas, clicks off the bedside lamp, and goes to sleep.
He feels entirely secure.
Completed.
Because he is resetting his baseline anxiety. The developers are intentionally giving his nervous system and the audience's nervous system a moment to decompress.
Right.
If a game is just a relentless barrage of terror, the brain eventually numbs to it. You need the valleys to make the peaks feel high.
But the valley is a total trap.
It is.
In Chapter 2, the game completely pulls the rug out from under him.
Yeah.
He wakes up and realizes the beautiful house, the warm bath, the cold he was all a hallucination.
Wow.
Nightmare.
Yep.
He never actually left the abandoned, terrifying building from the beginning of the video. He had simply passed out on the floor there.
The subversion of the psychological sanctuary, it's brilliant.
It's so mean.
It is mean, but when you turn mundane, comforting actions like drinking a soda or flicking off a lamp into precursors for dread, you dismantle the player's cognitive safety net.
You're teaching them not to trust anything.
Exactly. You are teaching their brain that there is no true sanctuary. If the safe room is a lie, then the baseline anxiety never gets to return to zero. The player is forced into a state of chronic, elevated vigilance.
Which has to be exhausting.
It is. It rapidly exhausts their mental resources.
Which perfectly sets up the brutal mechanics of Chapter 3, titled stay silent and still. By this point in the game's narrative, the character has gone 3 days without sleep.
Right.
And the game introduces this infuriating distraction mechanic. Live Insane is suddenly forced to frantically tap keys just to keep his character's heavy eyes open.
Just to stay awake.
Yeah, if he wants to interact with the most basic objects, like taking a sip of water, he has to aggressively spam the ease key on his keyboard over and over.
Now, the mechanical friction there is a very deliberate design choice to hoard the player's attention.
See, I need to push back on this, though.
Okay, go for it.
If you look at horror discourse online, people are always rolling their eyes at jump scares. They call them cheap tricks, lazy writing, just a loud audio spike designed to startle you because the creators couldn't come up with a genuinely scary atmosphere.
That is a common critique, yeah.
But in his transcript, Live Insane explicitly calls this the scariest game of the year, specifically because of how those jump scares hit him. They attacked him exactly when he was distracted by frantically mashing that ease key.
Right.
So how is making a player aggressively tap a plastic keyboard suddenly elevating a cheap trick into brilliant horror?
Well, to understand that, we really have to look at the cognitive science of attention and working memory. Think of your brain's working memory, like the RAM in a computer.
Okay, RAM. I'm following.
It has a very strictly limited bandwidth. It can only process so much active data at one time. So when the game forces you to focus intently on a tedious, repetitive motor task...
Like mashing a single key as fast as humanly possible.
Right. Mashing that key so your character doesn't fall back into sleep paralysis, it is demanding 100% of your cognitive RAM.
Wow, so my brain CPU is completely maxed out just trying to operate the keyboard.
Exactly. Your prefrontal cortex, the logical, task-oriented part of your brain, is screaming, just keep pressing the button.
Right.
Because it is hoarding all those resources, your amygdala, which is the brain's background security software responsible for threat detection, is left entirely unmonitored and unguarded.
Oh, wow.
You literally do not have the cognitive bandwidth left to anticipate the monster.
It is weaponizing my own annoyance against me.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there annoyed that I have to spam the E key to drink a virtual glass of water, and because I'm annoyed and distracted, my emotional shields are completely down.
Exactly. And the cognitive whiplash is what makes it devastating. When the scare finally triggers, it forces your brain to instantly pivot from a state of narrow, frustrated concentration to a state of massive, overwhelming primal threat response.
And that pivot is what gets you.
That instantaneous pivot is exhausting. The game is actively managing your attention, guiding you to look the wrong way, so that when it strikes, you are intellectually and emotionally defenseless.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. We have spent this whole deep dive analyzing the artificial horror, right?
Right.
We have broken down the neurology of sleep paralysis, the RAM capacity of our working memory, the psychology of a YouTuber screaming at a fake ghost. But as the credits roll on Silent Still 2, there is a massive, sobering perspective shift.
It really changes everything.
We move directly from digital manipulation into a deeply grounded real-world tragedy.
The endgame message from Solitary Studios.
Yeah. As the screen fades to black, a message from the development team pops up. They reveal the actual real-world inspiration behind the game.
And it's pretty heavy.
It is. They explain to the player that Silent Still 2 and their entire return to the gaming industry only happened after a devastating house fire burned their home to the ground. They lost literally everything they owned. Their sanctuary was destroyed, and the developer's exact quote on the screen is that creating this horror game marks a new beginning in our lives.
Wow.
You go from the adrenaline-fueled entertainment of Live Insane making jokes and chanting out of fear to this heartbreaking realization that actual human beings channel the darkest, most traumatic moment of their lives into the code on a video game.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, we move out of the realm of entertainment and directly into the clinical psychology of trauma recovery.
Which is fascinating.
It really is. Art, even something as aggressive and terrifying as a jump scare-heavy video game, frequently serves as a highly effective vessel for processing severe trauma.
I am trying to wrap my head around the mechanics of that, though. How does programming a game about a ghost holding you down in bed actually help you recover from a house fire?
Well, consider the foundational themes of a house fire. What does a fire actually represent to the human psyche?
Destruction.
Yes, but fundamentally, it is the ultimate, terrifying loss of control. In an instant, the one place you are supposed to be safe. Your home. your sanctuary, is consumed by an unstoppable chaotic force.
And you can't do anything about it.
Exactly. You are completely powerless to stop it. Your agency is ripped away by the sheer randomness of the tragedy.
Oh, I see where you're going with this, which maps perfectly onto the neurology of sleep paralysis we discussed earlier.
Exactly.
Waking up, realizing your body is paralyzed, and being completely powerless to move your own limbs while a threat looms in the room.
The game functions as an intricate, interactive metaphor. The developers experienced a horrifying loss of control in reality. The virtual sleep paralysis, the subversion of the safe room where the beautiful home was just a trap, the looming entity that hoards your cognitive attention.
It's a digital echo of their trauma.
Perfectly said, yes. In psychology, there is a therapeutic approach known as narrative exposure therapy.
Narrative exposure therapy.
Yes. The core concept is that a survivor reclaims their agency by contextualizing their trauma, often by retelling or reconstructing the event in a safe environment.
So by building the game, they reconstructing the feelings of the fire, but this time they hold the reins.
They took the chaotic, real-world powerlessness that victimized them and placed it inside a controlled digital box. As developers, they dictate the rules of the simulation.
They control the fear.
They wrote the code for the monster. They decided precisely when the terror initiates and when it resolves. They reclaimed the agency that the fire stole from them by designing a simulation of powerlessness.
Because they can turn it off.
Exactly. They mastered the nightmare because they built the off switch.
Man, that drastically changes how you view every single terrifying moment in the game.
It really does.
That annoying scared meter, the frustrating jump scares, the subversion of the safe room. It is not just about making a guy on YouTube scream for clicks.
No, not at all.
It is a literal manifestation of surviving the worst day of your life and figuring out how to articulate that pain. It elevates the entire medium for me. It proved that beneath the surface layer of cheap thrills and adrenaline spikes, interactive media can be a profound, cathartic exercise in human resilience.
It really forces us to acknowledge the duality of horror. What serves as a temporary recreational thrill for the player is simultaneously a permanent structural healing tool for the creator.
The code itself becomes a monument to their survival.
Precisely.
We have really gone on a journey with this source material today. I mean, we started with the frantic, terrified energy of a YouTuber trying to survive a digital bedroom.
Right.
We unpacked the intricate neurology of rematonia and how developers weaponize our brain's limited working memory to shatter our psychological defenses.
Which was so interesting.
And finally, we uncovered the poignant reality of developers rebuilding their shattered lives from the literal ashes of a house fire.
The contrast is striking. We willingly seek out artificial fear to spike our adrenaline, while completely overlooking the immense, very real resilience required to overcome genuine trauma that often inspires that media.
So what does this all mean? I think it is a powerful reminder that the media we consume, even the stuff we just toss on for a quick laugh or a cheap scare, often contains profound depths of humanity. We just have to take a moment to look at the credits and understand the minds behind the code.
This raises an important question, especially for those of you listening who frequently consume intense, stressful, or challenging media.
Yeah, I want to leave you with this final thought to mull over. If a harrowing, deeply uncomfortable simulation of sleep paralysis can be the exact psychological tool a group of developers uses to heal and rebuild after a devastating real-world tragedy, in what ways might you be using the media you consume, even the scary, the stressful, or the deeply unsettling stuff, to safely process your own hidden anxieties?